Good morning, everyone. If you don't know us, I am Sandy, this is Tim, and we live full-time in our Sprinter van with our dog Pablo. At the moment, we're doing the big lap of Australia. That will come out next week, so I'm very excited for that. But this week's episode, we're talking about our previous Japan trip. To recap
that you just finished watching.
Yeah, you just finished watching because there's a lot to talk about Japan, and we couldn't film absolutely everything. We wanted to show you the real van life of Japan, because I know we were showing, you know, the nice scenery and stuff like that, but we want to get into the nitty-gritty about actual van life and how it compares to other places. What
it's like, how to do it, where to go, and how it compares to the rest of the world. Wow. To the rest of the world that we've actually van lifed in.
Which is...
So that's just Australia, New Zealand and the UK.
Yeah. Or Scotland, really, isn't it? Oh.
Yeah, we whizzed through the UK.
Oh, and by the way, I've changed my hair. I'm actually finding this a lot easier for van life. It's easy to wash. And
it's practical. And it's easier to hide under a hat.
So, yeah.
After 3 days of not washing.
Surprise. Alright, the first thing we want to talk about is where we got our camper van from, because it can get a little bit confusing, especially when you're hiring from a different country, exactly where to hire from. We went with Japan Campers, and the reason why we went for Japan Campers is because they actually hired a variety of different sizes of vans. A lot of places only do the small micro ones or a massive RV size, which, you know, it can get quite pricey if you're going that end. So we got a... What was it? A Nissan Irvine?
Nissan Caravan.
Nissan Caravan?
It was a Nissan Caravan Bros.
Oh, yeah. There was a few Brosses around we saw. We found that perfect for the size of the roads and the size that we needed. And
it was also similar to our previous van Pepper that we used to own. Being a Toyota Hiace, we were familiar with the controls, and very easy to drive. And it was automatic. Power steering, had everything we wanted.
Yeah. Japan Campers also supplied linen. Now you'll find when you're looking at Camplify and places like that, as well as the professional hire companies, they don't provide linen, and you don't want to be running around when it's freezing cold trying to find bedding when you first get to a country. So I thought that was quite handy.
Some of the hire companies don't provide a little stovetop cooker because the vans over there don't come with kitchens or actual toilet facilities, so be aware of that and how you're going to handle that issue.
Ours didn't have a shower or toilet.
It was just kitchen units, cupboards, and a bed that you can convert. That was pretty much, I would say, the basic that we were happy to work with.
Yeah.
Even though making the bed killed us every single day, but that was fine. If you don't
know, our van has a lift bed, so. Yeah, we try to avoid making beds every day as much as possible. But in this case, it's, you know, it is what it is.
It's what it was. It worked with our budget. The insurance was included. You had to make sure you have your international driving licence with you. We had to. It was $60 to get one of those really easy.
Yeah, you have to have one before you hire, don't you?
They do accept English licences. They do accept Australian licences, US licences. There are a few licences they will not accept. So just check on the website before. They're absolutely fantastic with their communication. We did it all online. And
they picked us up from the airport,
didn't they? They picked us up to the airport.
Great.
Absolutely free.
Takes all that stress away.
And just took all that stress away. Very easy. They're English speaking. A lot of them, it's their second language, so you don't always get the nuances. But the chap that we spoke to, he was...
he was European, wasn't he?
He was a European chap, but he has very good English.
Yeah. Impressive.
When they picked us up, they took us back to their yard. The van was sitting there waiting for us. They showed us around the van. We did a full inspection. Luckily, we actually filmed all the way around. When we came back, there was a question about a dent.
There wasn't they? They go, what is this here?
What is this dent? And we went, hold on, we'll get the camera.
We
go, oh, it was already there. So that was fine. We didn't put any dents in it.
Make sure you take all your own fit photos.
Anyway, you get to look over the van. They show you how everything works, how you put the beds up, everything like that. They're really, really helpful. They have a little honesty shelf where previous campers have left shampoo, etc. and stuff
Any
like that.
extras,
So
food they
it's
had.
all free.
like,
you can take that. There's little packs of food
Yeah.
and everything like that. What else did they do? Oh, when it comes to power bank, they actually gave us a power bank to use because they knew that we used all the cameras, and that was absolute godsend because although the van does come with chargers, it doesn't come with enough chargers, especially for us.
Depending on your needs, but we found it really useful just in case you don't get enough sun, and you know, it's great to have, especially if they're offering it to you.
They don't generally have a solar setup. It all charges, the actual house battery charges off of the. No, that usually is an extra charge, but his discretion, he lets us have it for free.
Okay, yeah.
So they're really, really helpful. They gave us all our bed linen. They showed us how to do everything, and then they just sent us on our merry. Oh, they did give us a briefing on road rules. We'll cover that in a minute. And then they just sent us on our merry way, and we went off apprehensively down a very, very narrow road with eyes wide.
All right, road rules. Now, I didn't drive. Not because I couldn't, because actually I don't think I was signed off on that, was I? Anyway, I didn't drive at all. But when I was navigating, I did notice that the navigator. Google Maps got really confused sometimes because the freeways are on top of each other and you've got a lot of ring roads. It looks like when we came up to a roundabout, I said, only thing I could say to Tim was, it looks like you're going around the roundabout and coming out the same way as you went in. But in actual fact, it was a ring road and you went down and down and down and was going other a different way. So it can get a little bit confusing. So make sure you kind of
you're ready
look ahead.
For those things.
Yeah, navigator, look ahead so you know exactly what he has to do. We didn't get caught out by it, but it was a little bit confusing when highways are on top of each other.
Yeah, but Japan's infrastructure is just next level. Their engineering is amazing. It's like this spiral road just came out of a mountain, went down.
It's bizarre, and they come like right across the top of a mountain too, and you're down here. It's like
they're tunnel through a mountain, and they join the next mountain with this road way high. It's bizarre. It's a sight to see, and it makes you feel so tiny. But apart from that, navigation was pretty good. Around most of the city areas and the more populated areas, everything was either in Japanese or English on the sign, so you knew where you were going. And Google was very good at navigating those things. When you started getting a little bit rural and up in the mountains, the signs weren't as updated as they should be.
What are the speed limits around the areas?
I think generally it was 50 kilometres in the urban areas, and it was 100 kilometres on the actual highways.
We did notice that people
a lot of the signs said 30, 40, 80, but everyone just stuck to the 50 or the 100, really.
We did notice that people were actually speeding. Now, we were like pottering along at 100 or whatever it was, 80, and people are hurtling past, and we're just like, is it enforced? And we asked Japan campers, and they said, oh, it's a little bit, you know.
It's a rule of thumb.
Yeah.
It's a guideline, as long as you keep to that. Talking about speed as well, there aren't any speed traps. I never saw any cameras, any speed cameras, and the police presence on the road was very minimal. They went about doing the things they should be doing, keeping the peace and doing all that. And everyone's very respectful on the road. There's no road rage. It's really, really good.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry if you're worried about driving over here. Like I'm here.
Over there.
Don't. It's really, really easy. And if you're worried about driving through Tokyo or anything like that, the
freeway
goes straight through it. You bypass all the traffic. Don't worry, it's fine.
Yeah, with very, very little in the way of any sort of traffic getting caught in traffic at all.
Yeah.
So when it comes to road signs, this all comes up in the briefing. You have this little piece of paper and it brings up all these things. Most of the topics are on sat-nav getting confused. The road signs are different. A stop sign is like a give-way sign over there as compared to over here. Also, I found the traffic lights, some of them were horizontal instead of vertical,
and it makes it really difficult.
Sometimes if you weren't on the ball, you'd miss them and you go, oh, and then you'd have to, stop a bit quicker. But everything was very respectful in that.
Let me talk about the tolls. Now, nobody tells you about the tolls in Japan.
We were given the option when we picked up the camper, did we want the toll card? And we went, yes, we'll have the toll card. And what they do is they settle up when you finish.
Yeah.
Now,
what do we spend?
The tolls. We spent a total of $380 on tolls.
We were there for a total, it seems longer on YouTube, but we had so much footage, but we were there for 3 weeks.
We were there for 3 weeks, but we did want to get a lot of places very quickly. So we used the toll roads. You can, if you are taking life a little bit slower, you can take the normal roads that aren't.
You can, but you sort of ended up in those really tiny streets, and you'll end up taking double the amount of time to get anywhere.
It is worth.
So take the toll roads. You're just gonna have toll roads. You're just gonna have to budget it in because it's really handy and gets you places really quickly.
Oh, and most of the camper vans are petrol, so. Which is actually a reasonably good price as well. Absolutely fantastic service. Actually, when you go into the garage, you pull up, they come up, they don't want you to get out of the car. They ask you politely what you would like and how much you would like to spend, if you're using card or cash.
Yep.
Lots of bowing and thanking. They fill the car up, they come back and you sign the receipt, and that's it. You're off your way, and then they're waving and bowing and thanking you as you go. And even as we pulled out, they're shouting to us, and they're still bowing.
Yeah, they're so
lovely
sweet.
people, very
So
kind,
sweet.
very courteous.
Yeah.
Another thing is you've got to consider it's a very mountainous country, and there's lots of steep roads, and they always recommend you use low gears, especially in the automatic. Put it into second, and come down at your own pace. There is no rush, there is no hurry.
Brakes, or
that is to save the brakes. And also on the mountain roads, a lot of the signs of the roads are actually just a gutter. It's a big box gutter.
Oh yes.
Even across because of the drainage and everything.
There's
the paddy fields.
If you go over, you're going to drop down, so you've got to be careful of that.
And they've had a few. They scare you a little bit. They've got pictures and how much it costs, the insurance and stuff like that.
Really?
So you're like, ooh.
Never noticed that.
And yeah, so that covers the briefing and the road rules. Really, very very similar to the Australian road system. You see the differences. The signs are very clear. The roads are very easy. You drive on the same side of the road as we do, and in the UK.
Left-hand side.
The left-hand side. So very very simple, very very easy to do.
All right, now let's get into the van life actual side of things, which is where you park up and all that sort of stuff. Now we used, when you go with Japan Campers, they actually give you an app, and that was a lifesaver for us. We do use Wikicamps, we also use Park for Night, but that Japan Campers I found had a little bit more stuff on it.
It was the same format as Park for Night.
Yeah, it was the same as Park
but
for
it
Night.
had a few extra things on it.
Yeah, and you can add your own. If you found a cool one, you can add it on there, and they have to prove it, obviously, to make sure you weren't anywhere dodgy. But yeah, it's so easy to navigate, and it tells you how much things are, where to find your water, all that sort of stuff. But we found, mainly we stayed at is it Michinoeki?
The Michinoeki ones.
Michinoeki.
We didn't stay up because they didn't always have showers.
What am I thinking about?
The
Road
SAs
stations.
and
the SA and the PAs, or whatever they are, the road stations. Now, road stations in Australia, I don't know where you're watching from, but the road stations in Australia, I probably wouldn't stay there to have a shower or stay there at all.
They're mainly for truckers.
Yeah, but over there, all the food you could ever want, beautifully clean showers, toilets, and really, really, really safe to stay. And a lot of people were staying there, weren't they?
Yes, there is a big movement of people just living in their cars. We did notice that, and these places are perfect for that. And you see lots of them. They're very respectful. They don't make any noise. It's a lovely place to van life.
Yeah. The reason why we didn't stay at any campsites is because they can get a little bit pricey, because where they are, and I guess that's with every place, they're right in the prime spot, like next to the tourist attraction. So they really ramp up those prices, and I don't think there's any need.
They can be crowded as well.
Can be crowded. We did pass one that was a free one that was crowded that time.
Yes, that was very, very crowded. We just found that we free camped the whole time. We didn't have any trouble whatsoever finding spaces.
They encourage it, I would say.
One night we had a little bit of trouble. No, we didn't pay. We just had trouble.
Yes,
we ended up at that road station, which had the most respectful gangs I've ever seen.
Yeah.
They're like, well, crowded around their motorcycles, and they're all just chatting politely, and they got the bit. It was just them riding off that made the noise, that made it. But they were so nice.
Yeah. Can we tell we love Japan? So if you're worried about sleeping places, don't.
Park ups, not a problem. Toilets, absolutely no problem. They're usually top notch. They're usually those fancy toilets. They're nice and warm.
Oh yeah, with the bidet.
They play
and
tunes. They have the
seats.
bidet. It's a lovely experience when it comes to toilets. Showers, a lot harder to find.
We had a bit of a problem at one point.
But when we do
didn't
find them, they were awesome showers.
They clean after every use, and
They automatically clean.
Yeah,
It's
you press a button and it blasts it. But also someone comes in and also cleans it. So, yeah.
There are
very
other
cool.
alternatives to showering. You can go to an onsen.
Onsens, yeah.
We went to an absolutely lovely onsen that was a mixed one, which we wore costumes on, but they had showers there, and that was like $10. I think that worked out.
Yeah, it was
1,000 yen.
1,000 yen. Yeah.
When it comes to other onsens, they're usually segregated, and you have to be naked in them anyway. But usually they're mostly
And you wash
empty
yourself
anyway.
before you
So
get in.
it's a personal preference. A lot of people are very modest, and we are quite modest, and we were scared to use them. We didn't actually get around to using them, but one day we will. We'll be brave enough.
Yeah.
The other thing that we had difficulty with really was disposing of rubbish.
Yeah, so when you're collecting rubbish in your van, make sure you actually put it in sections, so you have your bottles and your recycling and all that sort of stuff, because when you actually get to a road station, they've got like 17,000 bins, and you have to place it all in the right bin, don't you? So it's hard if you've got all in a bag.
There's no general waste bins anywhere.
They're high on recycling. So,
Anywhere. And the only places we found that we could get rid of rubbish, and it's a small bag of rubbish, so once we got to a small bag of rubbish, we knew we had to get rid of it before we started another bag of rubbish. We found that we could leave it at the 7-Elevens, the Family Marts, and the Lawsons. They all had some sort of waste facility that you could get rid of the rubbish from, but that was very difficult.
Is this a time to talk about the 7-Elevens?
I think it's time to talk about food.
So with the camper van we had a small kitchen, but we never used it, not even once.
All we used was the water to boil water in
That's
the
it.
morning and make it for a coffee every morning.
Those
That's
lovely
the only
coffee
time.
shots that you see.
Those fantastic coffee shots.
But that's the only time we used our kitchen. Look, there's no need.
There is literally
7-Elevens,
no need.
the Family Marts, as you said,
And the Lawsons. All very similar layout. They're very easy to navigate, even if you know no Japanese whatsoever. They're so easy to navigate. A lot of the time the people at the counter, they deal with tourists all the time, and there's a little thing on the counter that says, do you want a bag? And they point to it and it says, do you want a bag? Do you want it warmed up? Do you want it? They warm the food up for you.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
So
which
good.
coffee would you like? It's all there on the counter.
They have everything you'd want, like ramen noodles, hot boxes, sandwiches, fruit, little lunch packages.
Everything, even the alcohol, tax-free, very, very cheap. If you wanted to get, they serve alcohol in the 7-Elevens.
Yeah, I got a little prosecco.
You
for
have
example.
to be 20.
Yeah, is it 20 or 21?
20.
I got a little prosecco, those little tiny piccolos. I got one of them for $2. $2 Australian dollars.
Very, very cheap.
Pretty
very
good,
cheap.
pretty good.
There's no tax on the alcohol.
And in comparison, they're like $7 here or more.
So, during the whole 3 weeks, we never cooked once, which is fantastic.
Not once. And
but we ate healthily. We kept the weight
healthy.
level all the way through.
We
didn't put any on. We come back, it was like, we're going to be
I was surprised
huge.
because those cream buns, I'll tell you what, 7-Eleven cream buns, top.
Yes, very, very, very tasty. Even the restaurants, very, very cheap. They compare to eat out, I would say, half the price of it if you was in Australia.
You can get expensive ones, but
even the takeaways, even KFC and McDonald's, everything, it was all half the price. This was like one of my things. The exchange rate was actually quite it was similar. It was dollar for dollar, really. $1 was 100 yen, so it was very
easy to
work
transfer
out
for
the
us
two.
anyway, depending where you're from.
I think, even parking, there's pretty much free parking everywhere unless you're at the tourist spots where they cash in.
Oh,
but it's usually $10.
Get there early for any tourist spot. Get there really early because the line, they love to queue in Japan, so
and
make sure you
we
get
were there
there.
during Golden Week, so that was
true.
Problematic in itself, because Golden Week is when everyone in Japan has a week off and they all go on holiday.
And everyone follows us around and queues up in front of us everywhere we go. Now, as we said before, we've van lifed in many different countries, including New Zealand, obviously Australia, Scotland, UK, and
Japan.
So how does that compare to other places? Now, I found Japan actually one of the easiest, to be fair. Did you?
And I found it the safest.
You
did not have to worry. We were still paranoid. We hid everything up and everything, which was that I think you should do anyway. I don't think you should put anything out on display. But I didn't find that we had any issues with people lurking. We had one person that was a bit. We pulled up at one park up, and it was like he was sort of walking around the car park making odd noises at 11 o'clock at night. And it was like, okay, maybe you have issues, but I do not wish to stay here. So we just moved to another one. Absolutely.
It's the same as everywhere.
That was the only time I thought.
A lot of other places I noticed have a lot of no camping signs, a lot of restrictions. Japan, you could park up right in the front of the beach and stay there, no one cares. And that's what I noticed.
One
of the major
homemade
difference.
restrictive sign that we found, which was hilarious with the translator.
Yeah, there was one we couldn't stay at, but that was the only one we found. Everywhere else, look at that park up we had at Asawi Wing, right up the top on a lookout.
Osaka Wing.
Osaka Wing?
Osaka Wing. We get that
wrong.
right.
I said it wrong the first time as well.
And there's vending machines everywhere.
Yeah, so on that lookout, there's no other country that we've van lifed in where you can park and sleep right at the top there.
Without someone taking
We
an
checked
issue.
all the signs, nothing. So
it was a very easy country. Food was everything was convenient. There was always somewhere that had a 7-Eleven
or a vending machine, as you said.
The vending machines. The funniest vending machine I saw, middle of a paddy field.
Yeah, who refills that?
And it was working. It was fully stocked, and it was like, wow. There's obviously the strangest places.
Oh, yeah.
The strangest places.
Yeah.
But there's obviously it's just convenient, and you can get hot drinks and cold drinks from there as well. Oh, some of them even did hot food.
I saw one that had food.
Mainly in the city.
Yeah, it was in the city. I think that one was. It was Tokyo. I think it was Tokyo. One of the stays we stayed at, there was a food vending machine. I never got food from there, but I thought it was cool. Sorry about that. Battery low. We ramble so much it just ran out. Anyway.
So, yeah, we were talking about how does it compare to other places.
Yeah.
If you had a van in Japan, very easy to do, very cheap to do. You could do it as inexpensive, and I could see if we were there, we could probably do it really well.
So it's safe, it's inexpensive, and
Extremely convenient.
It's really convenient with food. The only problem I would say would be the toilets. So when you park up, if you find a free park, we had to make sure there's a toilet around because, sometimes you get up in the middle of the night, you want a toilet around, there's nothing in the van. So
yeah, that's
the only thing I would say.
And the showers.
But when you do
we loved it. Like this morning, we got up, turned the hot water on, we had a shower. We've got the toilet all on board. It's very, this works for us, which is probably more that Australia is like that because the toilets are few and far between. Showers are extremely few and far between.
And they're not as clean. Japan, if you find a toilet and shower, pristine, and so that's
very well looked after place.
Yeah, so even though you don't have anything in the van, that's quite handy.
I think the same with the UK is that finding facilities was hard.
Yeah, so you need that toilet in your van just at least.
And we used a couple of campsites to do our reset days and showers and stuff like that because that worked more conveniently for us in the UK.
Yeah, it's true.
New Zealand, that was reasonably easy to navigate.
Yeah, I think New Zealand, we used laundrettes, I think, did we? Rather than a campsite? Or did we use... I can't remember now.
They had like the laundrettes that were in car parks and stuff like that. So,
oh yes, they did do. Yeah.
You have to be fully self-contained and actually have the stickers say you're fully self-contained. You can't have a toilet under the bed.
Sticker? No.
Their rules and regulations are a little bit tighter. They're very respectful about their nature and that. But that's a very clean place to van life, I found as well. Very convenient, but not as convenient.
Australia, we'll let you know. So far, we haven't paid for a single place, and we are 3 weeks in.
3 weeks in, we haven't paid for one overnight stay.
Very easy as well. We don't need to, as you said, we don't need to worry about a toilet and shower. But we're going to let you watch our Australian series, which is starting next week. We finally are doing the lap, and it's amazing.
Come along, it's been interesting.
Yes, we've had a few hiccups, but we'll let you watch. And yes, we're having a time of our lives.
Yes.
And we're so excited to show you guys what's out here in this beautiful country.
It is big.
It's huge.
Very big.
So we've got 3 weeks and we've gone like this far.
It is. We're currently moving up towards Cairns at the moment.
Yes.
So we'll leave you there.
Yes, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully our tips helped you out there and possibly taken away some anxiety about hiring in Japan and driving around those roads. And I know it can be scary going to a different country hiring a camper van, so please don't worry. It was great over in Japan.
If you can do it, I would highly recommend doing it.
Highly recommend it. Just budget in those tolls.
It's worth the effort.
It is. But thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already.
Always leave a comment.
Always leave a
and
comment.
If you'd love a sticker, I'll send you a sticker.
Ask us questions. If you want to know anything else, please send us a question and we'll happy to answer.
And we'll pop the link to Japan Campers down below if you'd like to go and check them out.
Yep.
There are other companies out there, and they're probably just as good, but they were the one that stood out to us.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
We'll see you next week in this beautiful, beautiful, vast country of Australia.
Extremely vast country. We've been 3 weeks and we're still in the same state.
We'll see you next week, guys.
Bye.
Bye.